It's my first time. Will you guide me? An alien agent's shocking confession. The light in the briefing chamber pulsed with a soft azure glow, casting geometric shadows across Zenith's pale violet skin. She adjusted her posture in the hovering chair, trying to project confidence despite the nervous flutter in her secondary respiratory system. Agent 7493 Zenith, you understand the parameters of your assignment? Commander Vex's voice resonated through the chamber, each syllable vibrating with authority. Yes, Commander, Zenith replied, her voice steadier than she felt. I am to observe the humans in their natural habitat, document their behavioral patterns, and report back without detection. Commander Vex's expression remained unchanged, all four of his eyes blinking in perfect synchronization. This is not a training simulation, Zenith. The Council has invested considerable resources in your preparation. Do not disappoint. Zenith nodded, suppressing the urge to remind the commander that her considerable preparation had consisted of merely 3 lunar cycles of theoretical study and 0 practical experience. No Lemosian had direct contact with humans in over 50 rotations. Remember, humans are unpredictable, emotional creatures, Vex continued. They allow their primitive instincts to override logic. This makes them dangerous, but also easily manipulated. Your adaptive camouflage and language implant should be sufficient. And if I encounter unexpected situations? Zenith asked. The commander's secondary mouth twitched with impatience. Improvise. That's why we selected you, despite your inexperience. Your empathic sensitivity readings were the highest we've seen in decades. That was precisely what worried Zenith. During simulations, she had struggled to maintain emotional detachment. Her instructors had warned her repeatedly about the dangers of empathic resonance with subjects. Your transport departs in 3 pulses. The mission duration is 1 Earth season. Dismissed. As Zenith exited the chamber, she touched the small crystalline device embedded at the base of her neck, her communication link to Lumos. For the next 3 Earth months, this would be her lifeline. Seattle's persistent drizzle provided excellent cover for Zenith's first day on Earth. Humans moved quickly through the rain, heads down, faces obscured by hoods and umbrellas. No one noticed the slight shimmer of her skin as her adaptive camouflage adjusted to match the local population. She had chosen a modest apartment near Pike Place Market, a location teeming with human interaction. Her assigned identity, Zoe Nash, a graduate student researching urban social dynamics, gave her the perfect excuse to observe and ask questions. Zenith studied her reflection in the apartment window. Her true form, nearly 7 feet tall, with iridescent skin and elongated limbs, had been compressed and reshaped. Now she appeared as a woman of average height with olive skin and dark curly hair. Only her eyes retained a hint of their natural lavender hue. Zoe Nash, she practiced aloud, her voice sounding strange in her own ears. My name is Zoe Nash. Her first collection assignment seemed simple enough: observe a public gathering place and document interaction patterns. Zenith chose the Seattle Aquarium, reasoning that humans would be relaxed in a recreational setting, making their natural behaviors more evident. The aquarium bustled with activity, children pressed their faces against glass tanks, couples held hands before exotic displays, and solo visitors read informational plaques with quiet interest. Zenith recorded everything in her neural implant, fascinated by the variety of human responses to the same stimuli. First time at the aquarium? The question startled her. A human male stood beside her, smiling. Zenith's implant quickly analyzed, approximately 30 Earth years, 6 feet tall, physical characteristics indicating good health, attire suggesting professional status. Is it obvious? She responded, recalling her briefing on appropriate conversational responses. You have that look of wonder that first-timers get, he said. I'm Declan, by the way. Declan Reeves. I work here, marine biology research. Zoe Nash, she replied, extending her hand as her briefing had instructed. The handshake, a curious human custom involving mutual palm contact, sent an unexpected surge through her sensory receptors. Her adaptive camouflage flickered momentarily, though Declan didn't seem to notice. "The jellyfish exhibit seems to have captured your attention," Declan observed. Indeed, Zenith had been standing before the luminescent creatures for nearly 20 minutes. Their pulsing movements reminded her of the bioluminescent gardens on Lumos. "They seem peaceful," she offered. "That's what most people say," Declan smiled. "But they're actually quite sophisticated predators. Beautiful but deadly, nature's way of disguising danger with beauty." Zenith wondered if the same could be said about her mission. "Are you visiting Seattle?" he asked. "Recently relocated. I'm conducting research on social interactions in public spaces." At least that wasn't a lie. "That explains the intense observation," Declan laughed. "I thought you were just really into marine life." "I find all all natural systems fascinating." Zenith inwardly cringed at her near slip. "If you're interested, I'm giving a behind-the-scenes tour of our conservation lab tomorrow. It's usually just for donors, but I could add your name to the list." This was perfect, an opportunity to observe humans in a more controlled environment. "That would be most helpful for my research." "Great. Meet me at the information desk at 10 a.m. Declan's communication device chimed. "Duty calls." "It was nice meeting you, Zoe." As he walked away, Zenith released a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. Her first extended human interaction had been successful, despite the unexpected physiological response to physical contact. She made a mental note to include this in her report to Commander Vex. The conservation lab tour proved more challenging than Zenith anticipated. Being part of a small group meant more potential for interaction, more chances for mistakes. The other tour participants, mostly wealthy donors in expensive clothing, asked technical questions that Declan answered with enthusiasm. "Our research focuses on microplastic impacts on marine ecosystems," Declan explained, showing them a laboratory where researchers examined samples under microscopes. "What we're finding is deeply concerning." While the others nodded with appropriate concern, Zenith found herself distracted by Declan himself. The passion in his voice when discussing ocean conservation triggered an empathic response she couldn't suppress. She felt his genuine care for this planet, a planet her people viewed merely as a potential resource. "Zoe? Any questions?" Declan's voice brought her back to attention. "Your dedication to preserving these ecosystems, what motivates it?" The question slipped out before she could analyze its appropriateness. Declan seemed surprised but pleased by the inquiry. "That's more philosophical than I usually get during these tours," he smiled. "I guess I believe we're all connected, every species, every ecosystem. Harming one ultimately harms all, including ourselves." The concept resonated uncomfortably with Zenith's empathic nature. Commander Vex had briefed her on human sentimental attachment to their planet but had dismissed it as primitive superstition. Hearing Declan articulate it so earnestly made it harder to maintain her emotional distance. After the tour, Declan invited her to the aquarium cafe. "So, how's your research going? Finding what you need?" "It's challenging," Zenith admitted, selecting words carefully. "Beyond the stars." The message from Commander Vex continued to pulse against Zenith's skin as Declan's car wound through Seattle's nighttime streets. "Extraction team deployed. Mission compromised. Maintain position." The word sent ice through her veins. An extraction team meant only one thing: her superiors had detected her emotional compromise. Perhaps her reports had been too vague, or her communication patterns had changed. Whatever the trigger, the consequences would be severe. Extraction teams weren't known for their subtlety or mercy. "You've gone quiet," Declan observed, glancing at her as they stopped at a red light. "Everything okay?" Zenith forced a smile. "Just tired. It's been an eventful evening." That's one way to put it, he chuckled. Listen, don't worry about tonight. Everyone feels out of place sometimes. What matters is that you're trying. If only he knew what she was really trying to do, balance loyalty to her mission against her growing attachment to this human and his world. As they pulled up to her apartment building, Zenith made a split-second decision. Would you like to come up for tea? The invitation surprised them both. I mean, if you're not busy. I'd like to continue our conversation. Declan hesitated, then nodded. Sure, tea sounds great. Inside her apartment, Zenith's mind raced. Her training had covered every aspect of human observation but had never prepared her for this, intentionally revealing aspects of herself to a subject. Yet something told her Declan might be her only ally in what was coming. She busied herself preparing tea while Declan examined her sparsely decorated living space. Her few possessions were carefully selected to maintain her cover story: textbooks on sociology, a laptop, generic artwork. Nothing that would betray her true nature. Minimalist, Declan commented. I like it. I don't need much, she replied, handing him a mug. They settled on her small couch, the city lights twinkling through the window. For a moment, they sat in comfortable silence. Declan, she began, her voice softer than intended. What would you do if you discovered something that challenged everything you'd been taught to believe? He considered the question thoughtfully. That's basically the foundation of science, isn't it? We form hypotheses based on available information, then adjust them when new evidence emerges. Being willing to change your mind isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Even if changing your mind meant betraying people who trusted you. Declan's expression grew serious. That depends on why they trusted you in the first place. Was it trust built on truth or manipulation? The question hit uncomfortably close to home. Her entire relationship with Declan was built on deception. I haven't been entirely honest with you, she admitted, setting down her tea. About who I am, why I'm here. I figured as much, he said, surprising her. Graduate student researching social interactions? Maybe. But you ask questions no sociologist would ask, and you observe things most people wouldn't notice. You knew I was lying? I suspected you were simplifying. I figured you'd tell me when you were ready. His calmness was unexpected. So, who are you really, Zoe? If that's even your name. Before she could answer, her communication device emitted a high-pitched whine. The extraction team was close, within the city limits. She had minutes, not hours. My name is Zenith, she said quickly. I'm not from here, not just Seattle, not just this country. She took a deep breath. I'm not from this planet. To his credit, Declan didn't laugh or run. He simply watched her, waiting. I was sent to study humans, to gather intelligence about your species and your resources, she continued. Right now, my superiors have realized I've become compromised. They're sending people to retrieve me. People who won't care who gets hurt in the process. Instead of responding immediately, Declan reached out and took her hand. The contact sent the same surge through her senses as their first handshake, but this time she didn't try to suppress it. Show me, he said simply. Zenith touched the base of her neck, deactivating her adaptive camouflage. The change wasn't instantaneous, it rippled across her skin like water, revealing patches of her natural violet coloration, elongating her limbs slightly, allowing her eyes to return to their true lavender shade. Declan's breath caught, but he didn't pull away. Incredible, he whispered. You're not afraid? Terrified, he admitted with a shaky laugh. But also, amazed. Her communication device shrieked again, more urgently this time. We need to leave, she said, reactivating her camouflage. The extraction team will trace my communication signal here. Where can we go? Zenith considered their options. They'll be monitoring transportation hubs, major roads. I know a place, Declan said, suddenly decisive. My research station on Orcus Island. It's isolated, accessible only by private boat. I go there when I need to work without distractions. Dawn broke over Puget Sound as Declan's small boat cut through the water toward the San Juan Islands. They had left Seattle in the middle of the night, taking backroads to a private marina where Declan kept his boat. Zenith had destroyed her communication device, but not before sending one final, falsified report to buy them time. Beautiful, isn't it? Declan gestured toward the horizon, where the rising sun illuminated Mount Baker. This is why I could never leave this place. On Lumos, we have twin suns, Zenith said softly. The dawns last for hours as one sun rises after the other. But they're distant, cooler than your sun. Everything is bathed in blue light. Lumos, that's your home? She nodded. A planet about 30 light-years from Earth. We've been observing your world for centuries, but only recently began sending agents for direct intelligence gathering. Why? Zenith looked away. Resources. Earth has elements rare in our system. And. She hesitated, living space. My civilization is ancient, expanding. You're scouting us for invasion, Declan said flatly. Colonization is the term my people use. But yes, essentially. Declan's hands tightened on the boat's wheel. And knowing this, you're still helping them? No, Zenith turned back to face him. That's why I revealed myself to you. My reports have been increasingly falsified. I've been emphasizing Earth's dangers, downplaying its resources. Why risk everything for a planet not your own? The question hung between them as the boat approached a small, wooded island. A modest research station perched on its rocky shore, solar panels glinting in the morning light. Because you were right, Zenith finally answered as they docked. We are all connected, across species, across planets. What I've seen here, the way you fight to protect your world's creatures, the way you value life in all its forms, it's worth preserving. Re-Triclaude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.